Well, hello scrappers, gold lovers, welcome back to my channel. Mike here, and welcome to part 4 of me trying to get the gold foils out of Ken's stuff here. This is the foils from 150 pounds of ram sticks, the foils on the little gold fingers on the ends of the ram sticks from 150 pounds of ram sticks, but they are all mixed up with a bunch of other stuff, and that other stuff has really just gotten in the way of me getting the gold. It's really been a pain in the you-know-what for 3 episodes so far. So, but the end of episode 2, I had one way forward that worked. At the end of episode 3, I had 2 more ways forward that worked. So, it's not easy, but it works. The problem with this stuff is there's something in here that makes this stuff foam horribly if I put it into Aqua Regia, and it just foams right up out of the bead. So that's one problem. Got around that by using muriatic acid and bleach instead of Aqua Regia to dissolve the gold. But we've got other problems along with that. Turns all this stuff into nasty green goo. There's a lot of MLCCs and chip resistors in here, and they contain a lot of silver, so we have a lot of silver chloride issues along with the green goo from this stuff. Yeah, and then the dye, there's some kind of dye in this stuff, which I think is organic, because back in episode 3, I baked some of this stuff at 1,000 degrees in my kiln, and anything organic should have ashed away. This stuff didn't ash, and the dye was still there afterwards. So I think we've got some kind of inorganic dye in here, and that interacts with the SMB when I try to drop the gold, and I get a nasty white precipitate. So yeah, it's just been kind of a nightmare working with this stuff. Oh, and also, it's super, super fine, and when I try to pour it, if there's the slightest breath of breeze, and I started this right now because it was absolutely dead calm, and well, since I've started talking, the wind has come up. So pouring this is going to spread it all over my workbench. So I may have to clear some space inside my workshop and pick up filming there for what I want to do. Because what I want to do is I have a way forward now, a way that works, and I want to try and improve it. So what I want to do is pour out at least half of this stuff into my biggest casserole dish here and run a magnet over it and see if I can pull out the MLCCs and chip resistors without spreading the stuff all over the countryside. We'll see how well that works. It may or may not work. And then, once I get as many of the MLCCs and chip resistors out of as I can, we will head into the fume hood and we will dissolve this stuff in muriatic acid and bleach and then try to drop the gold out of it. So that's my plan. Mother Nature's not cooperating. Okay, let me see if I can set up inside to do this. Okay, we're set up inside, out of the wind. So I want to dump out at least half of this stuff, if not a little bit more. Can you see the dust coming off of it? I hope that's showing up on the video. Let's see. That's not even half yet. Okay, we'll call that... I would say that's not even half yet either. I should have marked the side of the container. We'll call that half. Yeah, okay. Pulling up some gold foils too. But and we're getting steel out. Okay, let me get another container to put the steel in. Alright, so I got a little gold pan here. I'll just dump the steel in there. I still see some gold coming across. But if I pick it up again and drop it, now I don't really see any gold. So I can do that a couple of times. I can drop the stuff. The gold tends to stay behind. I can pick up the steel out of here, drop it, pick it up, drop it, and the gold tends to stay behind. Okay, so I can do this for a while. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, mostly steel. All right. This is going to be a tedious process, but I think this is going to save me some aggravation later. Okay? Let me shake this stuff up a little bit, see if I can get some more, because I know I haven't got it all yet. Yeah, no, there's still a lot there. Yeah. Shake some of the gold off, drop it, get the steel back up, leaving the gold behind. You can do that a couple of times. Leave the gold behind. All right. All right. So I'm just gonna keep this up until I get to the point of diminishing returns where I'm not seeing a whole lot more of this stuff coming out. Yeah, there's a lot of chip resistors there. Little bitty MLCCs and stuff. I don't even know what it is, but it's obviously made of steel. So I'm gonna keep this up for a while. See if I can get the bulk of the steel out of this stuff, because the steel stuff has silver in it. The steel's bad enough, but the silver is really annoying. So I guess I'll be back when I'm done with this process, because you probably don't want to watch it for the next 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, so I've been at this for a while. Here's all the stuff I pulled out with the magnet. There's a fair amount of stuff there. And actually, I didn't get that many gold foils in here. I could see a few here and there, but really not that many. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Well, whatever that is, got a lot of gold foil on it. Yeah, we'll put that back in just because there's a lot of gold foils on it. So I know I didn't get all this stuff out. Maybe 90–95% of it. If I run the magnet through, I still come out with a little bit, but really not enough to worry about. I don't think, not to keep this up anyway, after doing it for 20–30 minutes, I'm done. So what I'm going to do with this stuff, back when Ken sent me this project initially, he sent me a great big box full of stuff. One of the things in that box was his bench sweeps, which he wanted me to see if I could find a way to process. I would just add this stuff to his bench sweeps. And then we'll deal with this when I deal with his bench sweeps. Now, like I said, I'm sure I didn't get all of the base metal, magnetic base metal out of here. I'm sure there's still some. So I have a plan for dealing with that. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a boil in hydrochloric acid before we try to dissolve it in hydrochloric acid and bleach. So I'll give it a boil first, let it cool down, decant off that first batch of hydrochloric acid, we'll put some fresh hydrochloric acid on it, and then we will dissolve the gold in bleach. We'll see how well that works. Hopefully we will have less issues with all the metal that was in here. I'm sure I've got out the bulk of the silver, hopefully the bulk of the tin, iron, and all the other stuff that was giving me trouble. So I'm going to get this into one of my bigger beakers, get it in the fume hood, and we will start giving this stuff acid treatments. Alrighty, we're in the fume hood. Let me get some muriatic acid on it, and we will start the process here. Now, every time up till now when I put muriatic acid on this stuff, there's been a vigorous reaction right off the bat. Look at all that foaming. Okay, so I was assuming that vigorous reaction was due to all that metallic stuff I just pulled out of there. But maybe not. Because look at it go. I mean, everything's cold. It's stone cold. There must be some non-ferrous metal in there that's reacting with the muriatic acid. Not sure what it is, but it's looking like this acid treatment is necessary to get rid of it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some tin in there. The tin has been giving me a lot of trouble with this stuff. It leads to colloidal gold drops, which are annoying. So hopefully we can get some tin out of this. You know what? Look how that turned all black already. I want to put a little bit more muriatic acid on it for this boil. See what we can cook out of this stuff. Hit it with maybe another 100 milliliters here. Muriatic acid is relatively cheap. I have a waste treatment process, so... Okay, so we'll let that come up to temperature. See if we can cook off whatever's left in there. So there's still something very reactive in there. I don't know what it is. And then we'll decant off this first shot of acid, and we'll put some clean acid on it and try dissolving it in bleach then. That's the theory anyway. We'll see how it goes. Well, it's taken a while, but this is one of my biggest beakers. There's a fair amount of liquid in it, but it's finally come to a boil. Got some scum on the top with a lot of gold trapped in it, but at least it's come up to a boil, and hopefully we can get whatever base metals are left in there out with this boil. I mean, it should take care of tin. I don't know if there's any aluminum in there, probably not, but it should take care of aluminum, zinc, a lot of base metals. But the only thing this probably won't help us with is copper, but I haven't seen a lot of copper contamination in this stuff. And of course, any silver I missed will probably still be in there too. But hopefully, we've got it down to a much lower level than what we had in the past. So I'm just going to let this boil for a while, maybe even a few hours, and then turn it off, let it cool down, and see if I can decant off this now very, very deep green liquid we've got down here. I'm sure a lot of that green is from the dye in that conformal coating and solder mask stuff. So, gonna let it cook for now, and then turn it off. Well, this has been boiling for a good while now. The foam's gone down. Thinking that is a good sign. I'm going to shut it off. It's gotten kind of black and tarry. So let that cool off. And then I'll decant off this black tarry liquid. And hopefully we'll take a lot of nastiness with it. Then we'll see if we can get the gold in solution. Alright, well, it's the next day. This stuff has sat overnight. This is pretty black and tarry looking in here, and I debated simply decanting off this nasty liquid, but I've decided I think I'm going to filter it. All our gold foils are on the bottom. I can see them on the bottom of the beaker. They're still there. So I need to capture those gold foils and get rid of all this black tarry liquid. So I'm thinking filtration is probably the best way to go. As per usual, though, it's probably going to take a long time because I imagine the filter is going to get plugged pretty quickly. Get the liquid in here anyway. Oh yeah, it's nasty looking stuff there. Seriously nasty looking stuff. But I don't know if that's showing up. There's all our gold foils down in the bottom of the beaker. Amongst all that goop of unknown chemistry and indescribable smell. So, yeah. Okay. So I'll let this liquid drain through here. Then I'll dump the goop in, and I will rinse it with some distilled water and try and get this black gunk out of it as best I can. Then I'll pull the filter out, put it back in the clean beaker. We'll put it in the fume hood and we'll start dissolving the gold with muriatic acid and bleach. That's my plan anyway. See how it goes. So here's a look in the filter. I've been rinsing this stuff with distilled water. And, you know, it looked black at first, but now that I've rinsed it some, I can see it's really dark green. So we still got all that dark green silk screen material, conformal coating, whatever the heck it is in here. Well, we've got all our gold foils mixed in with it. I could see that my magnetic separation did not take out everything. I knew I didn't get it all, but some of the stuff in here may not be ferrous. Maybe it wasn't attracted to the magnet too, because it still seems like there's an awful lot of stuff in here, considering I wasn't getting that much out with the magnet towards the end. So a lot of this stuff may just not be magnetic. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm gonna continue letting this drain down here. I know it's a weird perspective. Get the camera up high. The filter flask looks tiny. But I'm gonna let this continue draining. I'm not seeing any more black stuff coming through, but we are definitely getting the blue-green dye. The blue-green dye is coming through, but I think that's just, I don't think there's any way getting around that. This is still full of green stuff, so, you know. I suspect when I put this into a beaker and hit it with muriatic acid and bleach, we're gonna wind up with more green goo as per usual, but maybe we'll have less silver chloride. We'll see. Okay, this filtration is done. The liquid's coming through clear. So I guess I've got enough, as much of this goop out of here as I'm gonna. Put this stuff back in here. So there are an amazing number of chip resistors still in there. I don't know if that's gonna show up or not. Focus on it here. So I would say the bulk of those are not magnetic because they didn't come out. So I hope that's not where we're getting our silver and some of the other nastiness from. I guess we'll find out. So this needs to go in the fume hood. Got to put some muriatic acid on it and start dissolving the gold out of there with bleach. And that's probably going to be an all-day process because it's been slow in the past. Hopefully, taking out a lot of that magnetic stuff will speed things up because I think the magnetic stuff was degrading and taking the chlorine out of the liquid, and then there wasn't enough chlorine left to dissolve the gold. So I think that maybe that's why it was so slow before, but there's still a lot of other debris in there that could be eating up the chlorine. We'll see. Let me get in the fume hood and we'll get started on it. Alrighty, let's get some muriatic acid on this stuff and then start adding bleach to it. Fair amount in here. That should probably be enough. Got Clorox bleach down here. That's not an endorsement, by the way. Use whatever brand of cheap bleach you can find. It's pretty much all the same. This may not be enough to get all that gold in solution based on past experience, but I have another gallon of it just in case. Ready to go. No, I didn't steal it from my wife's laundry. I went out and bought it myself. Now, last time I was putting this stuff in little pipette bowls. I think we're going to need a lot more bleach to get this stuff into solution, so I'm just going to pour it in a little bit at a time now and then. Yeah. Get a goodly amount of chlorine gas developing in there. That's what happens when you mix bleach with acid. You get chlorine gas, which is that green colored gas. I don't know if it's showing up on the video or not, but the beaker is filling up with a green gas. That's chlorine. So that's why they tell you don't mix bleach and acid, because you make chlorine gas, which will kill you. Especially in an enclosed space like a bathroom or something where you're trying to clean a stain. So yeah, don't do that. Use a fume hood. Then you can get away with it. Alright, gonna let this go for a while. Every once in a while I will stir it and add some more bleach. And like I say, this is probably gonna take a while until I don't see any more foils in solution. And based on past experience, this will take a while. So we'll be back. Well, it hasn't been that long. There's still plenty of foils in there that haven't dissolved yet, but I'll tell you one thing that's different. So maybe the taking out the stuff, the magnetic stuff and the hydrochloric acid foil before getting to this stage may have helped. Look at the color. Look at the color. It's sort of a light yellow green. It's not the deep, dark, swampy green color that we normally get if we go straight to muriatic acid and bleach. So yeah, it's not all thick and goopy either. So that's great. Maybe we've improved this process a little bit. We just got to get this stuff into solution, get this gold into solution, then see if we can get it back out. Then we'll see how much we've improved things. Okay, this is going to take a while, but it's working. Well, this is working, and the liquid's still not turned into nasty green sludge, so that's good. I'm seeing a lot less foils in there. I just give it a shot of bleach every once in a while and stir it up, and hey, it's working. The foils are going into solution. Very nice. A little less drama this time around. I'm loving it. Okay, just gonna keep it up. Well, I would say this stuff is done. I swirled it around a while back. Didn't really see any gold foils left in it, but I gave it another shot of bleach anyway, just to be on the safe side and let it sit for a while. I'm pretty sure all the gold foils are in solution. I didn't even use up all the bleach left in my bottle back there. I was hitting it pretty hard with the bleach though. It took maybe 3.5, 4 hours for them to all go into solution, which was a little quicker than I was seeing before, but maybe I'm a little more heavy-handed with the bleach this time, or maybe the taking out the magnetic stuff and the initial hydrochloric acid boil might have helped. I wouldn't be surprised if those things helped. So I'm going to get set up to filter this. We'll filter this pregnant solution out of all this gunk in here, and then we should be ready to drop the gold out of it, and we'll see how much gold we get. All right. It's time to filter this stuff. All the gold foils appear to be in solution. So that pregnant solution here I need to get separated from all the gunk in there. So we will filter that off. Then we should be able to just drop the gold out of it. And it might be a much better gold drop than what I've been getting from this stuff, because it's not thick green tarry goo. It's actually a decent looking color. We'll see if it comes through clear though. It might need to be filtered a couple of times. We might still have a little bit of a silver chloride issue. I don't know, it's looking like it might be a little bit cloudy there. So it might need to be filtered twice, which means this is going to take all afternoon. But that's about par for the course for this stuff. So we'll get it done. Well, I am pleasantly surprised by this stuff. It looked like maybe the first little bit to come through was cloudy, but now that I'm seeing it in bulk, it's actually quite clear, which is nice. I'm liking the color of it too. That is the right color. Normally this stuff is nearly opaque green when I dissolve the gold out of that material of Ken's. So yeah, this went really well. I hope we get a good gold drop out of it too. That would be nice. So I've got most of the liquid in here. I've just got all the solids. Once the liquid's through, I'll put the solids in there and wash the pregnant solution out with a lot of distilled water. And then we'll be ready to drop some gold. Alright. Just gotta keep filtering. Okay, well here's an unpleasant surprise. I've just dumped the solids into the filter there, and I see that there's some undissolved gold in amongst them. Okay. Maybe it was trapped under a layer or something like this filter paper, I don't know. But I really didn't see any more foils floating in the liquid when I stirred it. But I've never done this large a quantity of this stuff before. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just too much to do in one batch. So I will save the contents of this filter paper, and I will put it back in the beaker over there and hit it with some more bleach and hydrochloric acid and see if I can get the rest of this gold in solution. And then I'll filter it into this solution we're collecting down here. And so try and keep all the gold together. I was going to start on the other half of this material, but obviously I'm not done with the first half. So I guess I better finish the first half and not get ahead of myself on that, huh? Okay. So I'm going to let this drain, and then I'll transfer the stuff in the filter back into the beaker, and we'll hit it with some more bleach and hydrochloric acid. Thought this was going too easy. There's always problems with this stuff. No, there they are. Okay. I've stopped the filtration here. I'm not worried about getting every little bit of pregnant solution out of this stuff because it's going right back into the fume hood for another treatment. So, yeah. Ugh. Okay. So, let me get this back in the fume hood and hit it with some more hydrochloric acid and bleach and see if I can get the rest of that gold in solution. I would say probably got 3/4 of it in that first time around. I'll make sure it all goes in this time. I'll hit it hard with the bleach and probably leave it overnight and then deal with it in the morning. And by then, should all be in solution, I imagine. I probably just didn't wait long enough. Couldn't see any gold foils in there, but there definitely are some. Okay, back into the fume hood with it. All right, here we go. One more time. It's the muriatic acid and bleach treatment. One more time. Get it all down in the liquid. In fact, I'm going to tear up the paper a little bit. Give the gold fewer places to hide. Okay. I'm going to start putting some bleach in. This is almost empty, but like I said earlier, I've got another gallon. Maybe I'll refill this one because it's easier to handle. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a reaction. That's what I call a reaction. Keep that chlorine gas in there. Whoa, all right. Oh yeah. That green chlorine gas, that's what we need to do the job. Do it this time though, darn it. Get it all. And by the way, we're sharing the fume hood with another little project again this time. We are dropping some gold I got from ceramic IC chips using my Mighty Mill. I think that video is going to come out before this one, so I'll put a link in the upper right so you can check that out if you are so inclined. Alright. So I will hit this with bleach periodically for the rest of the day. Stir it periodically. Make sure it's got a good bit of bleach on it before I go to bed, and then we'll see what I've got in the morning. Hopefully the last of that gold's got into solution. Alrighty, so while I'm waiting on the first batch to dissolve in bleach and hydrochloric acid, I'm going to clean up the second batch, or at least, you know, get it ready to go. When there's space in the fume hood, I'll get it in there and give it the initial hydrochloric acid boil, and then start dissolving it in bleach and hydrochloric acid. So this is what I'll be doing for about the next 30 minutes, at least on and off, is pulling the magnetics out of this stuff again. So I won't force you to watch it all. I'll be back when it's done. Alright, well, the sunlight's coming in and making things a little harsh here, so you probably can't see as well, but I've got a whole pan full of the magnetic stuff again. And, you know, I'm sure I didn't get it all out of here, but, you know, I've reached the point of diminishing returns where I'm not picking up much anything with a magnet when I run it through. But, wow, have I got a lot of material here. And I'm just going to cover this with the lid of the casserole dish just so wind doesn't get up and blow that away until I'm ready to process it. I need to make some room in the fume hood, get that in a big beaker, and we'll start it boiling in some hydrochloric acid. Like before, I'm going to put this stuff with Ken's bench sweeps. Yeah, that's a little better. There is a little bit of gold in it. I'm sure there's silver in these MLCCs and chip resistors. So I'll just put it with his bench sweeps so, you know, nothing gets lost, but it is just kind of putting the problem off to another day. You know, when I get around to processing the bench sweeps, I'm gonna have to deal with this stuff. So, yeah. All right. So let me make some room in the fume hood, and then we'll see if we can get this stuff in. Okay. I'm gonna get set up to filter this stuff. When I came out this morning, I didn't see any gold foils floating in it. I've hit it with quite a bit of bleach since then. Stirred it, hit it with bleach, stirred it, hit it with bleach. It's getting on towards midday. I still don't see any foils in there. So I think we're finally done. Hopefully, I won't get fooled again. We'll see. Let me get set up to filter this stuff. I'm gonna get some gloves on first too before I handle it. A lot of nastiness. Alrighty, so there's a fair amount of liquid in here, so we may fill this filter flask up. So I have my other filter flask waiting back there just in case I need it, and I can swap the funnel over to it, and we can complete the filtration into it, and then I will combine the liquid from both filter flasks into one big beaker before I attempt to drop the gold. Get this stuff filtered. Coming through cloudy, or is that just a difference in refractive index that I'm seeing? I'm not sure. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Might be a difference in refractive index rather than actual particulates coming through. I hope so. I don't have to filter it twice, but I will if I need to before I drop the gold. Okay, so this is going to take a while to filter. And we'll see what that goop looks like once it's filtered, and we'll see if there's any gold left in this stuff. I hope not. I kind of doubt there is. I think I got 3/4 of it yesterday. So the last little bit should have went into solution by now. Okay, I'll be back when the filtration's done. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get the second filter flask out here. I'll wait till the liquid in here finishes draining through, and then I'll swap over to the other one and do the rest of the filtration. There's only about 750 milliliters left in there. I should be able to get it all in the 1 liter filter flask, even with some rinse water. So that's what I'll do. Okay, we're filtered on the second filter flask, and I'm poking around in here in the solids down here. I don't see any more gold. So it looks like we have it all in solution this time. Good. So I'll let the rest of the liquid drain through into this filter flask, and then I will dump the solids in and wash the pregnant solution out of them. The filter's pretty plugged, so it's going pretty slow, so I'll put the solids in last because they will really plug it and it'll really slow down. So we'll be back when this filtration's done. I will clean out this beaker, and we'll dump the contents of both flasks into it, and we will drop the gold out. However much gold we got here. Meanwhile, I gotta go work on the other half of this stuff. Alright, got the stuff in the fume hood. This is the last of it. Well, actually, no, it's not the last of it. No, I didn't forget this little baggie of wet stuff that Ken sent me too. Can't really magnetically separate the stuff out of it since it's wet. Don't know what it's wet with. That's kind of scary. But let me see if I can get as much of this out of the bag as I can and into the beaker here. Ugh. This is not an easy process by any means. See if I can do it here in front of me and not at arm's length. Left in there a little bit. Let me turn the bag inside out and wash it that away. Hey, that might be smart, huh? Every once in a while I have a good idea. There we go. I don't really see any more gold on it. There's a little bit in that nook and cranny there. Okay. There we go. Alright, so time to boil this stuff in muriatic acid just like the last batch. Oh, look at it. Just as soon as I put the stuff in, look at it go. Just look at it. Wow. That is a heck of a reaction. It's all cold. Wow. Hope that's showing up. I mean, I'm sure that some of that is air bubbles coming up to the surface, but it really looks like there's some kind of reaction going on in there. What? I don't know. Well, let me put some heat to it. We'll get this stuff boiling. And, you know, it'll turn black and tarry like the last stuff I did, I'm sure, but it takes a lot of stuff out of there, which is good. Alright, so we'll let that cook. Yeah, that's got to be a reaction. That can't still be air bubbles coming up. Something's going on in there, even while it's cold. But we'll just let it cook and get rid of whatever nastiness is in there. Alright, be back when we're ready to filter this. Which may be tomorrow. I may let this sit overnight since it's getting into the afternoon. So this stuff's come up to a boil. It's turned into lovely black tar as usual. But it's a good thing. This solves a lot of problems in the long run. So okay, I'm going to let this boil a little while longer, then turn it off, let it cool down, and we will filter it. Okay, the filtration, I would say, is done. The drops are coming through really slowly. I ran a lot of distilled water through the filter up here to try and get the pregnant solution out of the debris in there. Again, I don't see any gold in there, so we're good there. Now this stuff here, one more drop about to fall. This stuff here is nice and crystal clear. Absolutely gorgeous. This stuff here is kind of cloudy. The first stuff to go through the filter is kind of cloudy. I guess eventually the filter pores plugged up and whatever that cloudy stuff is stopped coming through. Now filtering this has been such an utter pain in the you-know-what that I don't think I'm going to refilter that. It's just slightly cloudy, so I think we'll just drop the gold out of it. The gold will go through another refining stage or two before I do anything with it, so we'll get whatever that cloudiness is out of it at a later stage. I just need to get this project done, okay, and find out exactly how much gold we've got here. So I'm going to stop this filtration, and we'll combine these two in one big beaker, and we will drop the gold out of it. And I'll tell you what, this project has been rough on my beakers. They are stained inside and outside with some kind of crud that just will not come off. I just boiled this one with a little bit of aqua regia in the bottom of it, hoping it would take off some of the stuff on the inside. I don't know, I'll have to scrub it down now and see if the stuff on the inside actually comes off. But my goodness, whatever's in this material, the conformal coating, the silk screen, the whatever in there, it's just murder on the beakers. Doesn't want to come off. But boiling a little aqua regia in there is about the most potent way I can think of to try and clean the film off the inside. We'll see if it works. Alrighty, time to drop the gold. Just a quick note on my filters. My Buckner funnel over there, my filter flask. Normally I save my filters to try and get the gold out of them at a later date. I ain't saving these filters. It's hard enough to get clean gold out of dirty filters without whatever the heck that green-blue crud is, you know, to deal with. So those filters are going in the garbage. They are not going in my filter repository. Now, as I said, this stuff is not nearly as clear as I would normally like for a gold drop. I would normally filter this again, but I got 3 liters of liquid here. It would take me a long time to refilter it. Pain in the butt. Plus, I usually get some sort of white precipitate when I try to drop gold onto this stuff anyway. So it's going to be probably a dirty gold drop. So we'll just go right ahead, and whatever gold we get, I'll just re-refine it in the future and clean it up. Yeah, usually there's a white precipitate that forms along with dropping the gold. Don't know what it is. Doesn't seem to be silver chloride. Doesn't darken in light. So I don't know what it is. Kind of a waxy texture to it in bulk. No idea. No earthly idea what it could be. But who knows what all's in this stuff. Uh-oh. Lost my stir rod. Well, it's down there somewhere. More in. It'll probably wind up gold-plated after this gold finally decides to drop. So I'm thinking the stuff is darkening up some. I didn't really see it get lighter. There's my stir rod way down there. Alright, that's a fair amount of SMB in there. I think I'm just going to let it sit and see if anything develops. If not, we'll put some more in. I suppose there could be some free chlorine in there still that could be giving us a little bit of trouble. Certainly, no nitric acid. No nitric acid was used in the dissolution of this gold. So, I'm just going to let it sit and see what happens. If nothing happens in a reasonable time, we'll put some more SMB in. Okay. Be back when something happens. Alright, it's been a while longer. The stuff has maybe darkened up a little bit, but really, wow, there's enough SMB in there to choke a horse. Or a whole herd of horses. But we're going to put some more in. See if we can speed this process up. We might have, I don't know, free chlorine in there. Maybe. I don't know. I had a hard time getting this gold into solution. Now I'm having a hard time getting it out of solution. Fortunately, I buy my bone-eat stump out in bulk. Fairly inexpensive that way. Okay. We'll see if some extra SMB helps the process along. And I guess I'll quit agonizing over it. Maybe go have some lunch and come back and check on it later. Yeah, it might be darkening up. This is my imagination. It might be darkening up. Looks like maybe the gold's trying to come out of solution. Okay, I'm just going to leave it alone and come back in a while and look at it. Well, I went away, had some lunch, come back. First, it doesn't look that much different, except it's a little more transparent. I can see my stir rod in there, and it's got a film of black stuff on top of it. If I lift this up, there's a film of gold on the bottom of the beaker. I hope that's showing. So we have had a gold drop. Whether we've dropped it all or not, I'm not sure, but we have had a gold drop. Alright, so I'm just going to let this sit and let the gold continue to settle out. And we'll see what it looks like in a while. Okay, it's time to get the second half of this crud filtered. Filter this tarry black liquid off of our gold foils, bits of which are floating on the surface. So we'll get this filtered. Yeah, nasty, nasty. I can't really describe the smell of this stuff. I mean, I boiled this in hydrochloric acid, okay? It does not smell like hydrochloric acid anymore, fortunately. So I don't want to breathe hydrochloric acid fumes. It's definitely got some sort of chemically tarry smell to it. Maybe a little bit inky or painty, which could be from the, you know, the conformal coating and the silk screen material in there. But I think it used up all the hydrochloric acid. Because it does not stink of that anymore. So this filtration is going to take quite a while. And then once it is done filtering, I got to run a bunch of distilled water across the remains in there to get the pregnant solution. Well, not actually, I don't want to get the pregnant solution out of it. I want to get this tarry stuff out of it. And then once the liquid's coming through clean, I can put this stuff back in the beaker, which hopefully I can get clean. Boy, this is rough on my beakers. Ugh. I might have to buy new beakers after this. And put the filter in there, and we'll start dissolving the gold in good old muriatic acid and bleach. And we'll finally have all of these gold foils in solution. Okay, it's going to take a while. Alright, so the filtration's done. I've got this stuff in the fume hood. I don't know if you can see kind of the greenish gas in there. So we are doing the muriatic acid and bleach thing. I'm going to give this plenty of time, a few days probably. Make sure all those gold foils are actually in solution this time, because it fooled me before. So going to give this a little while. And as for this stuff over here, it is degassing nicely. I'm going to let that continue for a while and turn the heat off on it, and probably leave it overnight because it's getting late in the afternoon. And I will deal with the gold down there in the morning. Alright, I want to show you a little something. Here's our gold. Nice layer of gold on the bottom of the beaker. This yellow color might lead you to think there's still a lot of gold in solution, but let me show you something. Put a little bit in here. We'll do another stannous chloride test since people say I don't do enough. But this is going to be an interesting result. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better what's about to happen. Okay. Put some fresh stannous chloride solution on it. And at first we've got nothing. If we had gold, that would be purple by now. Okay? But watch it. Look at the color developing. Okay? Can you see that? But what's the color? It's brown. It's brown. And you know what that brown is? That is, I believe, tin sulfide forming, because there's still a lot of sulfur dioxide dissolved in this stuff. I didn't leave it on the heat for long. So the sulfur dioxide in there from all the SMB I put in makes tin sulfide, which is kind of a brownish color. That is not the color of gold. It's not the color of platinum. It's not the color of palladium. It's brown. So, you know, we don't have any gold in solution, or that would be purple or black. And we don't have either of those colors. So all of our gold has settled out of this solution on the bottom of the beaker. Nice layer of it down there. How thick that layer is, hard to tell. But this is a 3-liter beaker. This is a big beaker. So, yeah, there's a fair amount of gold there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to siphon off this liquid. And I will do that off camera. You've seen me siphon before, and it takes forever, especially with 3 liters. So we'll be back when I've got the liquid off the gold. We'll take a look at it. I'll get it into a smaller beaker and start cleaning it up. Okay, transferred our gold to this little beaker here. I got rid of all that nasty yellow liquid. This is mostly distilled water in here, so I'm going to put it on a boil. This is looking a little colloidal. So we'll see if boiling it will get it to consolidate some. I hope so. I hate dealing with colloidal gold. I mean, there's a layer of it on the bottom, but there's a lot of it staying in the water column. It's pretty fine. So we definitely had some base metal contaminants in that stuff that prevented it from coming out nice and clean. I would imagine there was some tin there. So okay, let me get this in the fume hood and get it on a hot plate and get it boiling, and we'll see if it cleans up some. Yeah, I don't know if this stuff's going to consolidate. It's looking pretty colloidal. I'm going to let it boil for a little while longer and then take it off the heat, let it settle, put some fresh distilled water on it, and try again. Maybe actually, you know what? I might give it a hydrochloric acid boil. Actually, because the cleaner the gold is, the more likely it is to stick to itself. So I think I'll give it a hydrochloric acid boil, see if I can get any further impurities out of it, and maybe it'll stick to itself and consolidate a little bit. Of course, uriatic acid is denser than water, so it's going to want to loft those small particles even better than water does. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll do it though. Let me get this off the heat and let it cool off and settle, and then I'll change to hydrochloric acid. Okay, there's our hydrochloric acid boil going. I don't know. It still looks pretty colloidal to me. I'm half tempted to throw a little nitric acid in there and redissolve it. The more I think about it, the better idea that sounds. And reprecipitate it later as something cleaner. Alright, let me think about it. Okay, this stuff's been off the heat for a while, but it's not really settling out. It's looking like a hot mess of colloidal gold to me. So I think my idea of just putting some nitric acid in here, putting this stuff into solution, and then I'll just add it to our repository here where I've been putting all the gold we've got so far with all my small scale tests. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And then that tells me that this stuff right here is going to be as big of a hot mess probably as that stuff is, so may have to handle it the same way. I can still see a lot of gold that hasn't gone into solution yet, but it hasn't even been 24 hours. Like I said, I'm going to let this go a couple days. Is that like the filthiest beaker you've ever seen? Wow, this process is rough on beakers. Okay, I'm going to get that stuff dissolved. Okay, I did what I said I was going to do. I put a little nitric acid in there, dissolve that gold. I'm going to run it through a filter into our repository and just get it out of the way so I can concentrate on the second half of the material and getting it done, because I got too many projects going on. I want to finish this, so I'll do that off camera. This is going in there. Okay, this stuff's going on day 2. I still see some gold foils in there, but I don't see many. But I'm going to let this keep going, because last time I didn't see any gold foils left, and there were still some there once I started filtering it. So I'll let this keep going, maybe even another day or 2. So if you're eager to see part 4 of this, which is what this is, sorry, it's going to be a little delayed because the method I'm using for dissolving the gold is a little slow. And then there's our gold depository in the back. I've moved to a bigger beaker because, well, we've got more liquid than would fit in the other beaker. And I didn't feel like dropping the gold again and redissolving it in a little bit of aqua regia. I just put it in a bigger beaker. So I think what I'm going to do is, well, first off, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this dissolved, okay? Get it dissolved, get it filtered, drop the gold. I think this is going to be the last update until I get this filtered and ready to drop the gold. What I think I'm going to do is just add the contents of that flask back there to this material, and then we'll drop all the gold at once. Alright, so we'll have it all together. Maybe, because that stuff back there, you know, maybe I won't, because that stuff back there is pretty darn clean. And this is going to be a dirty gold drop here. So what I'll probably, okay, second thought, modify the plan. I will drop this stuff, and it's probably going to be dirty colloidal gold. And then I will redissolve it in a little splash of aqua regia. And then we'll drop all the gold together. We'll have it all finally done, and we'll know what the final amount is, okay? So, yeah, so that's I think what I'm going to do. That makes more sense. Okay. So, I'm just going to let this go for another day or 2 before I do anything else with it. Just add a little bleach now and then and stir it up. Alright, so we'll be back when I'm pretty sure that's done. So the last of the foils from the fingers of 150 pounds of ram sticks finally in solution. This has been going for 3 days. At the end of 2 days, I didn't see any more foils in here when I stirred it up, but I let it go for another day. I kept more bleach to it just to be sure all those foils are in solution. So it's time to filter. So let me get this stuff filtered. And as per usual, this is probably going to take quite a while. The filter starts plugging up. We'll get this stuff filtered. I'll run a lot of distilled water through the filter to get the pregnant solution out of the debris in here. Oops. Well, speaking of pregnant solution, I just spilled some on my desktop here. I will have to wipe this up and put that with my filters. So, and of course it's coming through cloudy. Why would it not come through cloudy? That means it's got to be filtered twice. So this is definitely going to take a while. Alright, so let me clean up this mess and I'll be back when filtration is done and we're ready to drop the gold out of this mess. Alright, got our filtered liquid in the fume hood. We're going to drop the gold. Hopefully this will be the second to last gold drop. We get this gold dropped, we'll redissolve it in a little bit of aqua regia. We'll combine it with the stuff in that flask back there and we'll have a final gold drop. All the gold from these fingers. And we'll finally, hopefully know how much gold we have here. Now, if your experience is any guide, this is probably going to take a lot of SMB and there probably won't be an immediate reaction. Of course, I say that, and look at the color change immediately, making a liar of me. I'm not sure why I had so much trouble last time. Sure looks like something's trying to happen this time though, huh? Some white foaming, that's generally a good sign. I'm going to put a little bit more in because it's always taken more than you expect with this stuff. Yeah, we definitely got a color change. We've gone from orange through yellow to green, and it is darkening. Look at that in real time. Okay, it made a liar of me, but I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, we got a gold drop going on. All right. So we'll let this sit overnight. It's getting late in the afternoon. Deal with it tomorrow. Hopefully we can get that redissolved tomorrow, get it all combined, and do another final gold drop. That would be excellent. Okay, so I'll see you in the morning. Well, it's the next morning, and here it is. That was a surprisingly low drama gold drop. Nice layer of gold on the bottom. It actually looks like a fair amount, but hey, it always looks like a fair amount when it's on the bottom of the beaker. So you know the drill. I'm going to siphon off this liquid, get this into a smaller beaker, give it some boils, try and clean it up. Then I'm going to redissolve it in aqua regia. We'll combine the stuff in the other flask that has all the rest of our gold in it. And we will have one last gold drop with all of our gold. And we'll see what we get. So this video is getting kind of long, so I'm not going to show the siphoning or the cleanup boils. You've seen that before. I'll be back when we're ready to redissolve this stuff and combine it with the other stuff and get the final gold drop and final gold tally. Okay, here's our gold. So this was the last of it. So let me get it back into solution with a little bit of aqua regia. And we will add this to it. And then we will drop all the gold and we'll know how much gold we've got. This actually looks like a halfway decent amount in here. So, and I know there's a fair amount in here, so we might end up with a decent amount of gold. I'm not sure it's going to be worth the amount, worth all the work I put into this, but it might be a decent amount of gold. Okay, let me get this in the fume hood, and we'll get some aqua regia on it. Okay, this is going to take a whole lot of aqua regia. A little muriatic acid in here. Interest of economy, we're not going to put too much nitric acid in, we're just going to put in enough to get that gold dissolved. there's about a milliliter. And I will put in more as needed until the gold dissolves. Got it on medium heat, as per usual. And we should start seeing a reaction pretty quickly. Got it covered up. And once the aqua regia gets cooking, the fume should deal with the little bit of fine gold stuck on the side of the beaker too. So, gonna let this heat up and dissolve. Well, our gold is nicely going into solution. Got a good reaction going on there. I might or might not have to add any more nitric acid to it. I probably will. I kind of doubt that 1 milliliter and get all that gold into solution, but got a good reaction going on so far. Hasn't stopped yet. So just gonna let it cook. All right, finally we have all of the gold from those fingers in solution. All right. I'm going to combine it all into this beaker, and I'm going to gravity filter it into this beaker before we drop it, just to make sure we get all the particulates out of it. This stuff looks pretty good. Actually, I do see some particulates in it. This stuff, after dissolving the gold and a little splash of aqua regia, and I did have to put a little bit more nitric acid in there to get it all into solution, I can see that there's a little bit of undissolved particulate stuff there on the bottom. So we will filter all this. Give it one last filter before dropping it, so we get nice clean gold out of it. And this video is getting really long, so instead of having like a little sit-down Q&A session at the end, I'm just going to talk a little bit while I'm working here. One thing a lot of people have suggested or chimed in the comments about is that I should have used Eco Goldex on this. And Eco Goldex was on the menu. I had a list of things I wanted to try with this stuff. Eco Goldex was definitely on the menu. Right up until the moment I tried treating this stuff with lye. And then I saw what happened when I treated it with lye. It turned into nasty, tarry goop. And I thought, well, Eco Goldex is just about as caustic as lye. So this is what will happen if I try using Eco Goldex on this stuff. And I thought that's going to totally screw everything up. So the Eco Goldex idea kind of went out the window. Ooh, that's still a little warm, and yeah, there's a little bit of something in there. We'll filter that out. Okay. So, let me get this filtering. So yeah, Eco Goldex I didn't think was going to be a good idea given the tar situation when I exposed this stuff to a very caustic reagent. It got so thick and gloopy that I wouldn't have even been able to filter it, and who knows what all that tar would have done to the chemistry of the Eco Goldex. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to gravity filter this because there's not that much material here, and there's not that much solid stuff in it, so this should go through the filter pretty darn quickly, and I think we'll get a pretty clean filtrate, and can put it back in the fume hood and drop the gold. But hey, keep those suggestions coming. I appreciate them. Sometimes I overlook the obvious, so you know, feel free, point it out. But yeah, Eco Goldex, I had definitely thought of that and ruled it out for that reason. Okay, that's coming through pretty darn clear. I'm just at the point of washing the color out of the filter now. Wash the last of the pregnant solution out of the filter, get it down there, we'll get it in the fume hood, drop the gold. Another thing I wanted to address was I still get people saying incinerate, incinerate, incinerate. Well, I tried that. In the kiln, ran it up to 1,000 degrees. Really not a whole lot happened. Anything organic should have been incinerated in an oxidizing atmosphere at 1,000 degrees. Yeah, I could have put it into a cast iron or steel pan and run it up a lot hotter than that. But I really don't think it would have done much good. I think what we're dealing with in that stuff is a lot of inorganic dye. And, well, you can't just burn off inorganics. It doesn't work that way. So Yeah, I think the incineration was a bit of a bust, so that didn't work out either. Okay, gonna let this continue to drain, maybe do a little more rinsing on it, then we'll drop the gold out of it. Okay, so there we go. All our gold from all our finger foils is in that beaker. Finally, it's all in one place. We can drop it. Hopefully this will be the last gold drop of this job. Yeah, spoon some SMB in there. Get my bonied stump out. Ooh, fume hood on before the sulfur dioxide comes flying out at me. Oh, look at the color change. Oh yeah. I do believe there's a fair amount of gold in there. So while we're dropping the gold here, I'll mention a couple of other things. You guys had a lot of good suggestions and ideas. I didn't get to try a lot of them out. Several people suggested using acetone to try and leach the dye out of the stuff. I was afraid to do that at first when I thought it was an organic dye and we were dealing with like plastic and stuff. I'm going to put a little more SMB in just to make sure we get a complete drop here. Now we got some white foam, so I think we probably got enough in there. So I was a little afraid to do that at first because I was afraid the acetone would turn that stuff into a big glob of melted plasticky goo at first. And then after my attempted incinerating it, when I realized it was probably inorganic, then I figured the acetone wouldn't touch it, because it's not organic. So didn't get around to trying the acetone for a couple of reasons. One or two other people suggested using muriatic acid and hydrogen peroxide to dissolve the gold out of all that stuff. And yeah, that would have been worth trying. Unfortunately, I didn't see that suggestion until after I was already dissolving the gold with the hydrochloric acid and bleach. If I ever get another load of this kind of stuff, hopefully I won't, but if I ever get another load of this kind of stuff, I'll try that. And if Ken gets another load of it, he can always try some of it up there in Canada too. I'm sure he can get a hold of hydrochloric acid and hydrogen peroxide probably, so he could try that. So yeah, those were good suggestions, just didn't get around to trying them for various reasons. So yeah, keep those good suggestions coming in my future videos. So we're going to let this stuff settle. I mean, it already looks a little lighter at the top, like it's trying to settle. So that's good. We might get a nice clean gold drop. So I'm going to let it settle, come back, see what we got. Well, it's the next morning. I let this sit. That is an amazingly clean gold drop. I mean, look at the liquid. It's crystal clear, colorless. A lot of gold on the bottom of the beaker. There's a little bit floating on top. I'll knock that down with a water spray and you know, siphon off this liquid. We'll clean up and dry out this gold and finally get it weighed and figure out how much gold was in that stuff. So, should know that here in the next couple hours. So let me get to work on this. We'll be back when I'm down to dry gold ready to weigh, because you've seen me do the cleanups I don't know how many times before, and this video is getting long. I have to say, this is some really good looking gold. I'm surprised given the amount of trouble I had extracting it from all that crud it was mixed in with. I mean, it's the right color. That gold drop was drama free. It was textbook actually, and this is really good looking gold. So, but of course, the question is, how much is it? It's good looking, but how much is it? So this is the moment of truth. However much there is, I'll bet it wasn't worth the trouble I went through to get it. Of course, now I know the secret. Alright, so let's find out how much gold we have here, huh? Drum roll, please. For all of you who guessed, this is the moment of truth. So I'll have to look through the comments and see who came closest. $13.11 grams. So Ken, that's how much gold I was able to get out of that stuff you sent me. So we now know that 150 pounds of ram sticks don't have that much gold on their finger foils, all right? Which, you know, those finger foils were so thin. I knew fairly early on, after my first couple of experiments, that there was not going to be a lot of gold here in the end. I mean, hey, 13.11 grams, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's more than 1/3 of an ounce. So, you know, it's nothing to sneeze at, but still, that was a lot of work to get it, a lot of chemicals, although in the end I was using pretty cheap stuff. So, Ken, if you ever get another load of this, we found a cheap way to extract the gold from those foils. Just muriatic acid and bleach, and a lot of it. Well, now we have our answer. And for those of you who stuck this series out to the end, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the great comments and suggestions. I really, really appreciate those too. They were very helpful. And hey, subscribe to see my future videos. I've still got a couple of other projects Ken sent me that aren't quite done yet. Well, one isn't even started, and the other one, well, I don't have a good way forward. So there's going to be a lot more videos coming out, plus my regular gold production stuff and other stuff. So subscribe to see those videos. Press the little bell icon. YouTube wants you to press be notified when new videos come out. Check out my second channel, Electric Geek 64. Good stuff over there. New content all the time. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching this one. I think I need a nap after this, though. Bye.